Hi friends, welcome back to Farm 812. Today I have another fun video for you showing one of the simplest recipes that I have used for a while now. This is perfect if you are a beginner cook or if you simply don't like to cook. Let me show you just how fun and simple this recipe is. Come on in. Okay guys, we're gonna start. I have an 8x8 baking dish here. I found the perfect size for this recipe. If you, so it makes 4 large size portions. And if you want to make additional, you have a larger family, you need more portions, you can certainly do this in a 9x13 baking dish. You would simply double the recipe. But I begin with melting a stick of butter, and I prefer to line my dish with the butter. You could do this certainly with, if you have, spray butter, or you could do it with, any type of oil that you have, vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever you typically would line a baking dish with would be fine. I just prefer the flavor that this adds, the butter that it adds to the dish itself. So that's why I've always done it this way. And it definitely helps if you have, gosh, I don't even know what this is called, like a base, some type of basting utensil. It definitely makes it easier to spread that out. If you don't have one of these little handy dandy tools in your kitchen, you can certainly use the edge of a paper towel, dip it in the butter, and then wipe that on the lining of your dish as well. So there I have a nice, it's not a thick coating, it's a very light layer that I've just spread over the entire dish to help with sticking. But again, like I said, I like the flavor that this gives. And I use real butter, real salted butter. All right, so there's that. Okay guys, I don't get super fancy. I use Great Value, the 9-inch pie crust. The only thing about this is that it does come in a round shape. Obviously, I'm using a square shape, so I do have to finagle it just a little bit, but you can see how it comes in a plastic wrapper. There are 2, and you will need both of them for this recipe. And I just unroll it. And I center it down into my dish and kind of pressing those edges to give it a slightly more square shape. I'm sure you could take a rolling pin to this for a moment and help give it more of a square shape, but that's just time and energy. Honestly, I don't want to devote. So this method is fine for me. I just squish it in, make it a little bit more of that square shape. There we are. Okay guys, in a separate bowl, I'm going to mix our ingredients. Here is the the star of the show. I use, again, Great Value mixed vegetable medley. I use 2 cans of that. I'm going to add a Great Value condensed cream of mushroom soup, 1 10-ounce can of that. And again, great value. Condensed cream of potato soup, a 10-ounce can of that. And then this is very much an optional ingredient, if you will. If you'd like to make it a chicken pot pie versus just a pot pie, you could certainly use canned chicken as well. I go very simple, very plain, great value, chunk chicken breast with rib meat. This is a 12.5 ounce can. So again, if you want to keep this a vegetarian dish, just omit this, or you can add it in if you want a true chicken pot pie. So I'm going to go mix those ingredients together and we'll be right back. So now I have all of my ingredients mixed together. I've added in a little bit of salt. I don't go crazy on the salt because I do add that to the crust at the end as well. So, and that's certainly something you can omit as well if you would like. But you know, we like to have that in there. So I do add it for us. And all I'm going to do now is simply scoop this mixture into the pie crust. I'm going to even this out the best I can. As you can see, it fills it nicely without each of those measurements, you know, the 4 cans that we've added. And now I'm going to add our crust over the top. So again, just the second portion of the 9-inch pie crust. And I'm going to plop this, try to center it as much as I can over the top. And then I just do my best to pinch it into the crust on the bottom. I don't get fancy on the edges or anything like that. I keep it very simple, guys. All right, so squish it in. Being careful of those edges where it was a little bit shorter because they are round and not square. So just pinch that in. And if you're anything like me, I actually enjoy a crust. So these edges here are kind of my favorite part. Some people don't like edges, you know, crusts and edges. No big deal. At the end, cut yours off, no big deal. All right, so there we have it. I'm gonna wash my hands quickly. Okay, Now over the top, we're going back to our melted butter. I'm just going to give this a light sweeping over the top, including those edges. Don't have to go super, super thick on this. A light coating will do. There we go. Now, you do need to vent the top of your crust. You don't want an explosion in the oven. So you could do just simple slits in there. Sometimes I get a little bit creative. So today I think I'm just gonna get a little bit creative, and let's poke a few little holes here. There you go. Farm 812, how about that? And for good measure, I'm just gonna put a little slit in each corner over here to give it that venting. There we are. Now we're gonna cover this with some foil. Tinting it with foil, that means you want the center of your foil to be up and away from the pot pie. You want it to make a little bit of a dome. I don't have to get super crazy with this or anything, but that's because your crust is going to rise in the baking process, so you don't want it to hit your foil. Something I found that can be helpful as well is, and the butter is not quite as helpful for me, my experience anyway in this. So for this step, I do actually use our extra virgin olive oil spray. And on top of the foil, I just give it a really light spray. So that way, sometimes the crust does rise high enough that I didn't tint it high enough. This will help it not stick to the foil. I know you can buy special non-stick foils and those sorts of things, but that's just not my jive. I've never invested the money in all of that. I just get your plain Jane, run-of-the-mill foil. All right, so as you can see, I'm kind of leaving it up in the center. I'm giving it that little bit of a dome, called tinting for those that may be new to cooking. Tinted my foil, making sure that it's sealed around each edge. Okay, we're going to see just how talented I am at filming and using one hand to get this in the oven. But I have preheated my oven to 425 degrees, and she is all ready to go. So we're gonna pop this into the oven, not burning ourselves. Look at that, I can do it one-handed. Go me. All right, so there you go. Now we're gonna set our timer for 45 minutes. And after 45 minutes are up, then we're going to remove the foil and let it bake for an additional 15 minutes to brown the crust. So I'll see you back in 45 minutes. Okay, our timer is gone off, and so now we're ready to pull our pie out, remove the foil from the top. Oh yeah, that looks great. That's doing so good. Okay, we're gonna close her back up and let her bake for another 15 minutes on the timer, and this is just to allow that crust to brown. There we are, all set. I'll see you back when the timer's up. Okay, the timer's just gone off, so let's take a look and see if it's ready. Look how nicely that has browned up on the top. Oh my goodness, it smells wonderful. Let's pull this out and let it start cooling. It smells so good, guys. I can't wait for you to try this recipe and see how fun it is. Unfortunately, my 812 did not survive, it appears. You cannot tell, you can't tell that that's what was slitted into the top, but it's gonna taste wonderful just the same. Look at all that bubbly action going on. So we're gonna let this cool on the counter for a little while, and then we'll bring you back in for the tasting. Okay, friends, it's had time to cool off now. Check out that beautiful crust. That's personally my favorite part, but that gives you a good look. And check out the portion size. Like I said, it makes 4 really good portion sizes. So for our family here at Farm 812, this will easily make 2 meals for us. And so if you want to break down the cost on this, the entire meal, I chose to make it without chicken this time, so it cost $6.50 for this entire meal. And like I said, it will make 2 meals for us. Dinner this afternoon, and then probably lunch again tomorrow. So if you split that up, then it was $3 per meal. If you're a person who calculates the cost per person, it's $1.50 a person. So you can't beat this. It's an inexpensive, very simple meal that you can make on a fall day, and it's one of those, hearty, warm your heart kind of meals. So now for the fun part. Let's give this a taste test. So good, you guys. So easy, so good. I promise, if you're a beginner cook or just someone who doesn't enjoy cooking, this is a must-have recipe. They'll think you spent hours on it, when, as you can see, it only took a few minutes to prepare this today. This is wonderful. Again, I'm putting the recipe in the comment sections for you guys, so feel free to copy that. And let me know after you give this a try. What did you think? How good did it turn out for you? I'd love to hear back from you. And until the next time, I'll be praying for you.